Hello and welcome to another Wally Spark review. What we have here today is not a cordless drill. Looks like one though, doesn't it? This is actually a portable or cordless air compressor that looks like a cordless drill. Comes in this beautiful box here with no name on it. And let me explain a little bit about no name on the box and sometimes maybe even no name on the product. In this case, it does have a name. It's called a Livowalny. Half the time you can't pronounce these names. And what's happening there is the manufacturer of this product is selling these in bulk or wholesale to companies, and part of the benefit they get by buying these in bulk from that company is the company will throw a little sticker or label or something on there with whatever name that they choose. So you come up with all these funky names that these companies call themselves. But also, when you're buying something like this nowadays, especially if you're looking at the mainstream retailers online, most of this stuff is coming from overseas and not made in the United States. And you might find this exact same product with a half a dozen different names, but they're all the same product. Just look at the pictures, look at the specifications and description, and if you think they're the same, they probably are, just with a different name on them and sometimes with different prices on them. So if you find 5 of these online and they all look identical, but one's 40 bucks and the other one's 60 bucks, well, go for the $40 one because you're getting the exact same product. All right, with that said, yeah, it's a neat little thing. The first thing I noticed is the way the picture shows the cable running on the unit itself makes no sense, because this is how it came, just like this, with the cable wrapped around the back and coming up the top there. If you try to put the cable around the front like they show it, just barely sticking out the back there, you can see you get this long extra cable sticking out the front. It's not as easy to store. It makes no sense why the box shows it that way. It even shows it that way in the instructions as well. Maybe they had a different design at one time with a shorter cable and then decided to make the cable longer. I don't know. But anyway, that was one quirky thing right there that's going on. This does not come with a battery, but it does take a 20 volt battery, 20 volt max DeWalt battery. And I'm actually using today a 20 volt aftermarket battery, which fits in my DeWalt products as well. These batteries are good, but by no means, if you're using this type, any equipment that needs a cordless or needs a battery, a rechargeable battery, you're not going to want to use aftermarket batteries, because if you're using the batteries on equipment for work reasons, professional reasons, industrial reasons, you're always going to want to spend the extra money, and in this case a lot extra money, for a genuine battery such as DeWalt or whatever tools you're using, Makita. This is just an aftermarket battery. Got it a lot cheaper than the quality batteries. But for my intents and purposes, I just use this stuff around my house and very limited and very lightly, so these batteries have always worked just fine for me. Not this particular battery, but any default, or I'm sorry, any aftermarket batteries, they've always worked just fine for me. But I wouldn't try to go, use this on a professional level if I was a carpenter or something in someone's house. No, you're going to go with the quality, expensive batteries. Anyways, so this just slips right in here like it would on any power tool. There you go, that's in. And this unit also comes with, obviously, some instructions. Comes with a little set of nozzles here for blowing up various things. And it also comes with the screw-on attachment for inflating tires, where you can stick this right on the tire and then lock it on, which is nice. You can also screw in the adapters directly to this end of the hose if maybe you're only using the pin needle, for instance. 99% of the time you just have it handy right on there and you can store it up here and you're good to go. But this is for the for any type of tire, bicycle tire or car tire. And it basically just screws on here. It's got a little O-ring in there to keep it sealed. And it's ready to go. By the way, it's kind of chilly out here in Minnesota today, and I have my garage heater running, so if you hear that noise in the background, I apologize. It's probably going to cycle on and off several times today. Alright, so what we're going to do here is give you a little demonstration of the features on this. You can turn this on a couple different ways. You can hit the power button in the back, or you can use the trigger right here to turn it on. I'll demonstrate that. That should have came on. No, it didn't. What happened? I got the battery on all the way? Nope, I don't think I do. Hold on a second here. My bad. Okay, there we go. Alright, so actually it just popped on. Let's go ahead and turn that off once. To turn it off though, you have to use the actual power button on the back of it. Hold it in, it goes off. Now I can either turn it on again with that button, or I can use the trigger switch here. It takes a second to load up and then it's ready to go. And I'm going to turn this back off for now, because what I'm going to do is put on my handy dandy little phone neck holder thing here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's what I was talking about. This is that little handy dandy thing you can stick around your neck, put your phone on here, and then you can be hands-free while you're demonstrating something in the video. This will be the first time that I use this, and I'm going to do a review on this as well, which you can catch sometime in the future. Just stay tuned, or better yet, subscribe, and you'll see a video coming out for this with the review on it. But I'm going to go ahead and put this on so I can get a little better close-up of this unit while I'm demonstrating it to you, and we'll take it from there. Alright, let's see how this neck holder for my phone is going to work out today. It's very comfortable. Anyways, we're not reviewing that product today. So one thing right off the bat too that I don't like about this unit is its susceptibility to tip over. So if you have the cord here and you're trying to hook it up to your tire, and this isn't, you know, exactly close enough or whatever the case may be, it's real easy to just tip, well, there you go, you can see, tip it over. And it just, yeah, I don't like that at all. On a flat surface like this, it may be okay, but if you're dealing with, you know, you're out in the snow conditions or muddy conditions or uneven pavement or rocks or something, this thing just has a tendency to want to tip over very easily. So that's one bad thing about it. We're going to look at some of the controls here, and let's go ahead and turn this unit on. I'm going to shut off the lights so we can see it a little bit better. Now hopefully you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons on here. So the middle one down here is the power button. The one at the top right, if you click that, it actually has a little light on the front of it, so you can use it as a flashlight, which is handy. I'm going to turn that back off. Well, actually, it also has a red flashing light. I didn't know that. Okay, if you click it twice. Click it a third time, and now it's off again. So let's go through that one more time. Clicking that top right button gives you flashlight. Click it again, flashing emergency red light. Click it again, and it's off. And then we have the up and down, plus and minus. That's to adjust your pressure. Or how many pounds you want this thing to inflate to. And how that works is we're going to use this top left button here, and that is going to bring us to some presets. The first one that showed up is a basketball, and from the factory this came with 8 pounds of pressure to put into the something like a basketball. Next one is a bicycle. It's preset at 30 pounds. Next one is, I don't know what that is. Can't really tell. Looks like maybe a motorcycle. And that one was set to 32 pounds. And then we have a automobile, which is set to 36 pounds. I did adjust that. I think it was originally set to 35 or 34 pounds. And what I mean by that is, while you're on one of those presets, you can just use the plus or minus buttons. For instance, we're going to raise the pressure up a little bit. And we're going to set it to 37 instead. And now every time I go back to that preset automobile symbol, well, by golly, it went to 36. Let's try that again. We're going to raise it to 37. Let it do its thing. Okay, now let's cycle through the options again, the presets. Okay, I stand corrected. I thought when I did this earlier that once you adjusted the preset on any one of those, it stayed at that level, but it doesn't. It goes back to, it reverts back to what it was put in at the factory. Let's just try that one more time. Let's go to the basketball, and let's change that to 7 pounds. And now we're going to go through our presets again. Back to the basketball, and it's back to 8 pounds. So I stand corrected. I thought that permanently adjusted the presets, but it does not. And you don't have to use the presets. If you just click this until there is nothing on the screen, it starts out at 30 pounds, and you can either go more pressure or less pressure and adjust your own automatic fill level. And if you hold that button down, it goes a lot quicker. So how that works is, say for instance, like right here I set it to 39 psi, and once I hook this up to a tire or whatever I'm hooking it to and start it, which you can either use the trigger like I said or the start button, on and off button up here. If I had that, let's make sure we can do that on the start button too. No, I take that back. All right, I'm learning all kinds of new things with this. So the on and off button, I should say, the on and off button does not start the unit running. You still have to use the trigger for that. All right, I'm just learning this along with you folks, so bear with me. But anyways, once I would have started that now, set at 39 psi, if I had this actually hooked to a tire, what it's supposed to do is go to 39 psi and automatically shut off. So you don't have to sit there and monitor it. We are actually going to take this to my truck tire, which is almost flat, and hook it up to it and see how well that works. So yeah, we learned a couple things together here, but for the most part, you got the flashlight or flashing red light on the top right corner button. You have the power button in the bottom center. You have your higher or lower, plus or minus, to adjust the automatic setting that you want on there. And then you have the presets that are built in to just automatically go to whatever they're set at. Not too bad. Okay. I should also mention that it has a couple crevices here on either side with some plastic clips in there where you can take your nozzles, a couple nozzles, and lock them in there so they're always with the unit instead of having to carry them around separately. But it looks like it only holds 2. I don't know if I could get all 4 of these in there, but either way, you have that option. And yeah, so we're going to take this out to my truck tire, hook it up, and see what it does. Let's shut her off for now. Hold down that power button. There we go. All right, see you in a minute. There you have it. Stopped at 36 psi, just like I preset it to. That's awesome. And the only reason you see that blinking like that display, is because of the camera. The display actually isn't blinking. Okay, it worked just like it should. I preset it to 36 psi. It shut off at 36 psi. I did have to stand out there and monitor it, which was a good thing because it's cold outside right now here in Minnesota. I just heard it through the garage door, and when it stopped I went out and checked, and it was at 36 psi, just like it should be. Perfect. So I like the idea that you can just let this thing go on its own. You don't have to stand there for 10 minutes watching it. It took about 9 minutes to fill it, my truck tire, from 8 pounds to 36 pounds. So that's probably somewhere around approximately 9 minutes per, I'm sorry, what does it work out to be? About 3 minutes per pound. So every pound it ran for about 3 minutes or so. I believe that math is correct. Anyways, if I'm not correct, you do the math yourself. From 8 to 36 in 9 minutes. All right, so the only thing I don't like about this, as I mentioned earlier, is its susceptibility to tip over. I just don't like having to be aware of that. I just want to set the thing down and use it. So I don't like that, but it didn't tip over when I used it out here on my truck tire, even though I was on flat ground and it's a nice dry day today. If this did tip over accidentally, I don't think you're going to hurt the unit itself. Excuse me. But if you were in wet conditions, there are some areas where water could get into on this, and it's an electronic component, so you don't want to get any kind of electronics wet. But other than that, everything else is seems to be perfect. It did drain my battery. You probably can't see, but I have a little battery indicator on the back here. It started out at 3 bars. I think it was probably about 95% charged. It's now down to 2 bars. So, it took about maybe a third of the battery life away. In theory, you could probably do 3 tires like I did, maybe even more, if they were really flat. Mine was at 8. I had to bring it up to 36. I could probably do that about 3 times before I would need to recharge the battery or change it out. It does have some little clips on either side to hold in your nozzles if you want to put them up there and keep them right attached to the unit itself. There is a nice little area on top here too where you can just embed the hose into for easier storage. It will store nicely, just like any cordless drill that you would have. It actually looks just like a cordless drill. Comes with that flashlight like I told you, and the flashing red emergency light, which is handy in case you're stuck out in the freeway somewhere. Now, would I use this commercially? No. When you're doing commercial work on a regular basis, you're probably going to want to invest into some real quality stuff. Not to say this isn't quality, but I don't think it's meant for a heavy commercial use. But for around the house, for your everyday needs, such as maybe filling up a tire here and there, or your kids' basketball, this is going to be the perfect tool for you. Nice and convenient. Don't have to monitor it. Just set your preset to the PSI that you want. And I believe this unit only comes with PSI. It doesn't come with the other measurements. I can't remember what they are, but kilograms or whatever. It only has PSI in it, but that's all I ever use anyway. So for my needs, it's perfect. So that could be one downside, though, depending on what you like to use. I like the trigger to start it. I've already explained what all the buttons in the back do. The screen will shut down, the unit will shut down if you leave it unattended. After a minute or so, it does automatically shut off, so you're not draining your battery unnecessarily. It's another good feature on it. Overall, it performed just like I would have expected it to. I hope this gave you some good information if you're thinking about purchasing one of these. I will leave a link in the description of where you can buy this unit and similar units. And that should be about it. Other than that, we hope you do subscribe. We greatly appreciate that. And thank you for watching my video.